Hello and welcome to Riley Talks, where my name is Riley and I like to talk. Before starting this video, just want to say thank you for all of the new subscribers and love on my last video. I had so much fun making that video and I'm so excited to share this one with everybody. And I'm a little bit sick, so I'm gonna be drinking out of my mug today. I'm using my roommate's Christmas Charlie Brown mug, which is adorable, and it has a little Snoopy inside. So cute. Okay. So today comes my long-awaited video on Psych, and by long-awaited, I mean I have been dragging this video out. I've been not wanting to make it because it meant ending the journey of Psych for me, which was really hard to do, but I did it. I finished all 8 seasons, so it's time to jump into the magnificent, fabulous world of Psych and the two people who I think are the ultimate best friends, Gus and Shawn. So a little bit of background on Psych. The show first aired in 2006, which I feel like is kind of evident based off of the iconic lime green text for the show, as well as the iconic font. It's very 2006 to me. The show follows Shawn Spencer and Burton Guster, two lifelong best friends. Shawn is a goofball troublemaker with a gift of observation and deductive reasoning that was drilled into him at a young age from his cop father. He is begrudgingly skilled, but when the opportunity to monetize this skill comes along, he jumps on the idea. And of course, when Shawn decides he wants to pretend to be a psychic and open up a detective agency, he must rope along his long-term best friend, Gus. So they team up and they create the agency, which is the very premise of the show. While the two take on individual contract cases, which we see throughout the show, the majority of their cases come from working as consultants for the Santa Barbara Police Department. This fills out our ensemble cast, where we meet Chief Vic, the head of the Santa Barbara Police Department. Beyond Chief Vic, we meet Carlton Lassiter, head detective, and his partner and junior detective, Juliet O'Hara. And one of the main reasons I loved this show was because of the chemistry between the cast, not only Gus and Shawn, but the rest of the cast as a whole. And part of this can be attributed as well to the off-screen chemistry and relationship the cast had with one another. They were a very tight-knit group of people, which I believe really emulated in the chemistry they had in the show. And of course, when talking about relationship dynamics in the show, you have to include the main takeaway of the show that Gus and Shawn are probably in the top 5 best friends sitcom Hall of Fame. I seat them along with Abed and Troy from Community and Ilana and Abby from Broad City. They are truly some of the best friends that sitcoms have to offer. And in the beginning, I was really worried about this dynamic because I was concerned that Gus was going to be a sidekick best friend character that only acted as a foil to Shawn. He is routine and cautious, where Shawn is impulsive and spontaneous. I didn't want Gus to be limited in this identity or forced into a typecasted role. However, as I watched more, it became more and more abundantly clear that Gus is a wholly fleshed out character and his own person, completely separate from Shawn. Shawn and Gus complement each other because they are yin and yang. No pun intended. If you know, you know. Shawn forces Gus to get out of his restrictive comfort zone, and in return, Gus forces Shawn to take care of himself and challenges his impulsivity. But this isn't the only reason why they work so well together as a team. A majority of the people who watch the show are gravitating towards Gus and Shawn's relationship due to this silliness and childlike relationship that they have with one another. They quote-unquote match each other's freaks in a way.
I am begging you to give me your best shot.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, hurts like the dickens.
Well,
I will strike you back.
I dare you. I double dog dare you. I triple dog dare you.
You went from low to high. You ready for that? What's your problem, Gus? You brought a funeral program to a knife fight. Come on. Come on, baby girl.
You want to bumble with the bee, huh?
Where's that? Where's that? Ooh, what's that?
Camel clutch. Take that. Ask the ref. Ask him.
When one is silly and throws out a bit, the other one immediately catches it and continues it. In a world of people that think they're odd and weird, they understand each other and that language perfectly. It's a dream all of us wish to fulfill with our friendships. A key example of this is the classic name bit, where when Shawn is introducing him and Gus on a case, oftentimes Shawn throws out a very interesting, weird name for Gus, and Gus immediately jumps on that name and sometimes, when the case is right, includes his own bit or personality for the name that Shawn assigns. A classic cult favorite from the Psycho community is Shadynasty.
Sean Spencer. That is my partner, Shadynasty. It is spelled S-H, comma to the top, dynasty.
Comma to the top?
That's God's comma.
And one identity that I really love of Gus's is when he is a lawyer. He does this a few times throughout the show, and it always makes me laugh because I am definitely more of a Gus than a Shawn, and as someone who was very academic as a child, I really relate to when Gus talks about how he was on the pre-track to become a lawyer due to his lawyer work he did when he was studying in elementary school.
This class is for 5 to 8-year-olds.
Yes. Yes, it is. And that's what I call discrimination.
Discrimination.
Yes, and ageism.
Who are you?
I'm his lawyer.
That's right. You brought a lawyer?
I keep a lawyer on retainer at all times. There's so much injustice in the world that you practically can't leave home without one, and apparently today it paid off.
Right. Okay, well, I will see you in court then. Now,
Perfect. Now, I need a statement from you, and as we plan to try this in both civil and criminal court, I'll need the police here as well. Can I use your phone? Or do you only let the white people use that?
who said anything about white people?
You just did.
The words white people did not come out of my mouth.
There they are again. Luckily, I had my hand recorder on for that one. By the way, I am now disclosing that this conversation is being recorded.
Recorded? Okay, this is crazy.
Crazy? You want to know crazy? I sued 300 businesses last year alone. I sued a hot dog cart and got everything but the wheels and the buns, which I won in the civil case 2 months later.
This identity that Gus is able to easily forge brings up another point of what I love about Gus. Gus is extremely knowledgeable, and while Shawn is a brilliant observer, Gus is a brilliant learner. He often contributes key knowledge to solve cases, and some of this comes from his knowledge of medication due to his job in pharmaceuticals. But some of his other information that he provides comes from his wide array of life experience and his knowledge for unique and niche topics. An example I love of this is the early season Spelling Bee episode, where Gus's experience as a former almost Spelling Bee champion helps them solve the case of what happened to the Spelling Bee Grandmaster. And another thing that we have to contribute to Gus as one of his best personality traits is his iconic catchphrases. There are probably a million different catchphrases I could put here. I'm just gonna say a few of my favorites, and I know I'm gonna forget some that people love, so please, if you have more that you really love, put them in the comments. But some of my favorites are, "Come on, son," as well as "Heard about Pluto." Also, and "No, Shawn."
Oh, come on, son. You tripped me. Come on, son. Come on, son. Come on, son. Come on, son. Come on, son.
Come on, son.
Come on, son. Oh, come on, son. Come on, son. Come on, son.
Come on, son. Come on, son, you got that.
Come on, son.
As well as my personal favorite, "You know that's right." So in conclusion, Gus is lovable and amazing and unique in his own way. And while Shawn has this more outwardly lovable appeal at first, they both are so flawed and beautiful, and while watching the show you can't help but just love both of them as individuals and really, really, really love their relationship together as friends. And I will say, like, Shawn can be very relentless and annoying, but no matter how much he pushes Gus perhaps a little bit too far, he's always there for him. We see this in their relationship as Gus is there to support Shawn financially, claiming him as a dependent on his taxes, as well as keeping him in line and responsible for his actions and making sure he doesn't end up in prison. We also see, though, that Shawn helps Gus through his emotional plights of anxiety and terror. We see this in a key way when Gus is facing night terrors, and Shawn is the first person he calls to come and soothe him and help him get over those fears. They truly love each other in a way that not a lot of sitcoms are able to explore when it comes to male friendship. They outwardly express how much they care for one another, and they are never afraid to show physical or emotional bouts of their love. And beyond their beautiful friendship, another part of the show that I found very dear was Shawn's relationship with Juliet. It is a classic slow burn that really, really, really makes you work for it throughout the show. It's nowhere near the slow burn we see in something like Bones, but I will say it's a slower burn compared to shows like Brooklyn Nine-Nine. And I love Juliet. She is so kind and emotionally mature, and she is able to have such a good relationship with every single character on the show because she is able to understand what they need and see them beyond the false first identity that other people may see when looking at them. A key example to this, which I will talk about in a little bit, is her relationship with Lassie. He's, taciturn and unsocial, but she's able to form a real emotional connection with him. The chemistry between Juliet and Shawn is something I really like because their relationship is put in this unique perspective where when they first meet, it's kind of acknowledged that they have a natural, palpable chemistry.
Listen, diner guy.
Shawn.
Shawn, flattered really. Very often I am happy to meet new people, but today, right here, right now, I can't talk.
I understand. I do. What if I do the talking for both of us?
Have at it. Do you mind if I read the paper and stare aimlessly out the window while you two talk?
No. Can I get a name to work with?
Juliet.
And if the situation was different, aka in the way they met, where Shawn did not know she was a cop, they would have had something romantic happen between the two of them. And I really like this because it's this unspoken acknowledgement of their attraction to one another. And throughout the show, we see them kind of lean into that unspoken attraction.
Shawn, what are you doing?
Nothing.
Really? Because if you're doing what it looks like you're doing, it's going to be one of those things we were just talking about.
What's that?
A mistake.
I agree, but that's clearly not what we're doing.
Okay, really? What do you say that we're doing?
I call it very close talking.
Ah, I see. Do you have anything else to say?
No. I think I'm good for now.
And sometimes it's even spoken, but in a very funny, silly way. And that just really warms my heart, and I love their relationship, and I love that they had a little bit of some jealousy tropes happen later on in the seasons as they're getting closer and closer to admitting their feelings. And there's some issues with their relationship when Shawn has to reveal he's not really a psychic, and I'm not obsessed with how that played out. However, that turmoil only lasted a few episodes, so I'm not, torn up about it completely. But to digress, I just think they have a wonderful connection, and They really match each other well. And I know the actors dated in real life and broke up, and that's hard to know for me while watching a show because some of those things just get in my mind and then I can't separate the characters from the actors, whatever. But I really tried my best to just acknowledge how much I love Shawn and Juliet separate from their actors. And back to talking about Juliet's relationship with Lassiter, I really like this dynamic because I'm gonna say this sentence a million times in this video, but this is kind of a little bit of an underexplored dynamic in sitcoms where we have a best friendship that is very platonic between a man and a woman in a show. And not only are they really close friends, they have a very professional teamwork, and that's its own dynamic as well. Lassiter is very grumpy. He's a rule follower. He's stubborn. He is very, very adamant about not wanting to work with Shawn and Gus. And Juliet is more positive. She's willing to go with the flow, try new things. She is more likely to give someone a chance than automatically assume the worst in them. And I really like how Juliet and Lassiter's relationship evolves throughout the show because in the beginning, they were always respectful and worked well together, but as they spend years and years being partners, we see them confide in each other about different important aspects of their lives. They are able to get an emotional, real connection that is offered by their mutual respect and love for one another. I love this too because Lassiter is the type of character who you don't immediately love. However, throughout the show, Lassie opens up to their antics and we see that he's very flawed, but he really just wants to be loved like the rest of us. And he doesn't know how to open up and be vulnerable to get that love because when he's tried in the past, it's ended up with heartbreak. Oh, I'm getting emotional. Like, I love Lassiter. I'm actually gonna get emotional. I'm so sorry. I just love him, and his character growth throughout the show was very beautiful to see, and I just love the dynamic between him and Gus and Shawn and Jules and how they are a team all together. Sorry guys, I'm also TMI, but I'm, on my period right now, so of course it's making me a little extra emotional about my love of sitcoms, but we're digressing. We are digressing. So to circle back and talk about Shawn's relationship with his dad, I really, I say love a lot, and sorry, I just love a lot. I love a lot, like, God forbid, I'm just a lover and I love this show. But I really loved Shawn and his dad's relationship because when the show starts, we see Shawn moving back to Santa Barbara and his relationship with his dad is very stifled. They had barely spoken in the past couple of years and they do not have an open father-son relationship. Shawn resents his dad for his dad pushing him so hard in his youth. And to Shawn, it felt like Henry was forcing him down this path of being a cop and not allowing him to explore his other interests. And we see how Henry was just trying to do what was best for Shawn in his own perspective. Henry wanted Shawn to succeed and he wanted to push Shawn towards that success. And we see how only later in life Henry starts to regret how he handled Shawn in his youth. And over the course of the show, and as Shawn reaches out more and more to Henry to get help with his police work, that we see the two rekindle their relationship. And this is a very honest and real exploration of a rekindling broken father-son dynamic, because having that hard relationship with a parent is never a quick and easy fix. And especially when you have two very traditionally masculine characters that in their relationship with one another do not often express their emotions or try to resolve these issues, it does take longer for them to come to a place where they are in a happy, normal relationship with one another. I'm about to talk about my favorite episodes and also my favorite underrated character of the show. Okay, so let's talk about my favorite underrated character first. Woody, my favorite underrated character. In the first couple of seasons, we really don't see him take up much screen time. He doesn't really talk. He's just the coroner, and he's a little bit odd because he spends all of his time with dead bodies and has no social life outside that.
I've put together a demonstration for you guys, but I'm going to need a volunteer first. I have to warn you, it involves me whacking you in the head with this baseball bat.
However, throughout the show, he becomes more and more of a figure, and he is just wholly unhinged and odd. But I find him so lovable and sweet, and he's just quite silly in the way that he has very little social intelligence and often makes these odd romantic advances at people who clearly are not interested.
Had some evidence in this guy.
Stop breathing on my neck.
That's just how I breathe.
Would you give me some personal space?
I'll give you whatever you need.
And he says unique things about his bodies on the table while he's doing the autopsy, and he's a treat.
Just so you know, me and this guy, we spooned last night.
I love him especially because he is in one of my favorite episodes, which is a Gus night. I don't know episode names. I'll put the episode name right here, of course. But one of my favorite episodes is the episode where Gus, Shawn, Lassie, and Woody are out drinking, and we see them wake up the next morning with no idea what's going on. It's a little bit akin to The Hangover, and they do make a reference to that as well in the episode. And it's quite funny because Lassie's missing 3 bullets from his gun. There's a body that appears with 3 shots in it, and we're like, oh shit, like what's going on? And it's just a fun, silly episode that it just has a lot of the usual antics of the show and is a little bit away from the monotony of every episode being a traditional cop procedural.
Facts. I don't know what happened last night. I've never lost control of my faculties in my life.
Me neither. Unless I'm being tickled, then all bets are off.
Another favorite episode of mine, I just kind of like all of these supernatural episodes. They have one about a werewolf, one about a vampire, which introduces Lassie's future wife, which I loved. And these are just cute episodes, and I like the kind of spooky elements of them.
I can't help being a gorgeous fiend. It's just the card I drew.
What in the hell are you wearing?
We're on their turf, Juliet. We have to walk the walk of a true Night Stalker.
Night Stalker?
He's right. Look around. You're the fish out of water here.
Because they're all pretending to be dead, Shawn.
Or perhaps it is us who pretend to be alive.
I also really like the concept episode. I think it's Tuesday the 17th, which I know the name of that because it was Tuesday the 17th yesterday. And I really like that episode because it's based off of Friday the 13th, which I just love because you can tell the writers really love pop culture, and they make a lot of references throughout the show to different famous pop culture movies and TV shows. And as someone who loves sitcoms, it's really fun to see Gus and Shawn reference different movies and TV shows, but also episodes that reference them. A few spoof episodes that I love include the Clue episode that they did. They also did a Twin Peaks adjacent episode. They also have an episode a little bit based off of The Shining. And I just love these little Easter egg references. They do a great job with Easter eggs throughout the show. I'm someone who loves Easter eggs, who loves layers in a show. A key example of this is the Psych emblem or symbol of the show is a pineapple. And even watching the show, you might not understand that until you realize that there's actually a hidden pineapple in every single episode, which is just a very fun Easter egg, and it proves how much joy and silliness was put into the show. A part of this too is the fact that the show went on for 8 seasons. There are only so many different procedural cop plots you can do before it gets a little bit tiresome. So I do really appreciate and I enjoy that the writers decided to do more bottle concept episodes. I could talk about Psych forever, but we're not going to do that. That would be a lot of editing time and nobody has the attention span for that. So I'm going to start wrapping this up, and to wrap up, I want to throw first an honorable mention to my king, Buzz. I loved him a lot. I wish he was featured more in the show. He's so sweet, and he's a cutie. And you know, the last thing that I have to say about this is I actually really loved the show's finale. And, okay, I've mentioned this before, I don't like watching finales because it really upsets me to see the characters end, and to imagine that universe not existing anymore is devastating to me. However, I really liked this last episode because it didn't have that ending. We see some of the aspects of the show change, but Psych is still around. They just have moved locations. We still get Juliet and Shawn together, and also we see Lassiter happy with a baby and his wife. Everything just turns out really well, and you know, also for some solace, I know there are still movies that I haven't watched, which makes me happy because the world hasn't actually ended yet. If you guys want a review of that, by the way, I will review the movies. Anyway, in conclusion, you can clearly tell I love Psych. I hope this video either inspires you to watch Psych or it reminds you why you also love Psych. If you enjoyed this episode, please like and subscribe. That would mean the world to me. And if you comment, I will see it and I will respond. Feel free to tell me about your thoughts, what you agreed with, what you disagreed with. I will not take anything personally. I am excited to have those conversations. And if there's any other TV shows that you're dying to have me watch or review or that are your favorites, let me know and I will definitely watch them. But thank you so much, and I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day.